What's going on, guys? Chuck back with another awesome Blu-ray purchase, and today we're going to be taking a look at my Black Friday shipment from Vinegar Syndrome, which I'm very excited to get into, especially since it took a while to get here. For whatever reason, FedEx had to go a roundabout way to get here. It reached the main hub here in Indiana, in Indianapolis, which is basically it was like 14 miles away from here, and then for whatever reason it shipped it up north to Gary, Indiana, which was like 150 miles from Indianapolis. Why, I don't know, but later that same day it got shipped back to Indianapolis, just so we could make it here where I live, 14 miles from Indianapolis, in Greenwood today. So I don't know what that was about. I get it. You know, I work in supply chain, so I understand there's a lot of issues going on, but that was still boggles the mind. But you know, regardless, it made it. It arrived. Everything's safe and sound. So we're gonna take a look at these, starting off right at the bat with Madman, a very, very good, and I think not very much talked about slasher film from the 80s. It's got a relatively, well, it does have an unknown cast. The only person you would probably recognize would be Galen Ross, who's actually, I think, using a different name in this film. And of course, Galen Ross is known for Dawn of the Dead, the 78 George Romero version. But this has got a nice bit of a creepy atmosphere in some respects, and there's a nice little, some tense moments. But again, it's not one that's it's very seldom talked about, you know, except for, people who were, you know, well versed in the horror slasher 80 films. But you know, it's not. I think it's one of the upper level of the, you know, lesser known slasher films, and it really deserves to be checked out. And they've done a nice job here. They got a lot of special features. They really went above and beyond with this release. You can see it is a Blu-ray and DVD combo. With a slip cover, reverse slip cover. So you've got this artwork here, and then of course the original, which is what I like. But yeah, it is. Like I said, I actually I saw this first on the last drive-in with Joe Bob Briggs, and I was very enjoyable, very entertained. And then just this past summer, it played at my local drive-in, so it's really cool to see it on a drive-in screen. This is the kind of film you want to see on a drive-in screen, so it's a lot of fun. If you've not seen Madman, I recommend you seek it out and check it out. Very good. Next up is is a replacement for a DVD I have, I think from Code Red. It was like their 25th anniversary version, but this is Don't Go in the Woods Alone. Infamous Video Nasty, which is one of the reasons why I first heard about it and why I picked it up. It's also very infamous because it's a very low budget, very, I don't know, schlocky, best way to describe it, but fun film. And it's really cool to see films like this get this kind of treatment, because you wouldn't expect that. There's the special features on here, a lot of commentaries and interviews. And I think one thing I didn't see, it's on my 25th anniversary one. I think there's like a 90 or a 60-minute maybe making of documentary, which I think is interesting that it's not on here because we're doing a comparison between the two. But you know, this is still a really nice set. It's also Blu-ray DVD combo, and you just got no reverse artwork, but you have this little bloody artwork, if you will. Throwing stuff everywhere. But again, it's not one of these films that really, that if it wasn't, it's most notable for being a video nasty. Kind of like a couple other, or another film we'll get to in a little bit. But this It's known. It's got a reputation for, it was on the Video Nasty list. It's scored, but it's like very low budget, or maybe no budget. I think that's how they described it. Maybe it's the next film, but it's a very low budget killer in the woods 80s slasher trope, but it's fun. Check it out. Don't go in the woods alone. Next up was one I have not seen, but I remember from very early on in the video store days. This is one of these films that you go in the horror section in the video store and you'd always see it there. I always saw it there. Why it was never picked up, I don't know. And actually, come to think of it, I think we may have like one of the earliest rentals, but I don't recall. I want to say we did, but that's kind of fuzzy. But I just remember seeing this video on the shelves all the time, and that was Splatter University. And this is the image that always caught my eye. I always saw this videotape with this cover. And like I said, I don't recall actually renting it. My mother and stepfather at the time may have. I remember actually very early on in getting videos, but this always stuck out to me for whatever reason. As I got older, I never picked it up, but I always remember this cover. So I saw that Vinegar Syndrome, had this on Blu-ray. I think this is like the first time it's been released on Blu-ray. It's a no-brainer. Had to pick it up. And it is also a DVD Blu-ray combo. You see the disc is the same artwork as the reverse cover art, which is kind of cool, but I really like, this is just so classic. I love this because this is what I remember from the video store. This image, it just, something about it just always caught my attention, and I don't know what it is. Maybe just it seems a little cheesy, but hey. And you've got some really good special features on it. So again, it was one of these movies that would probably be forgotten about if not for companies like Vinegar Syndrome. So kudos to them for that. And in some cases, some of these movies that they remember probably should be forgotten. But hey, no one goes out to make a bad film. So any film they can get any kind of love and remembered out there is great. And I'm looking forward to sitting down and checking this one out. It's finally, after all these years of always seeing this video, finally getting to check it out and hope it's worth it. And even not, hey, it's still cool to have. Now we get into the top tier of the purchases I bought, and back to 80 slasher films. This was a nice one, limited edition slipcover Graduation Day. This one I'm not seeing. I heard a lot about this. Another segment from the In Search of Darkness documentary, and they had a little great section on here. One that caught me especially, how Linnea Quigley replaced one of the actresses mid-movie. So, one character is played by one actress at one point. Later on, she's Linnea Quigley. Just, very low budget, no budget film again. And this had, nice slipcover. Here's the Blu-ray artwork with your special features. And inside you've got basically the marking off the class of '81. One of these lesser known, low tier 80s slasher films that will be forgotten about again, as I said before, if not for companies like Vinegar Syndrome. So thank you for that. And they really put a lot of love in putting in very nice slipcover, and there's the back of that. So thank you, Vinegar Syndrome. Next up is probably the newest movie on here, and that is Censor. One of her lot of things about, and I was very interested in checking out. And this is going to be, I'm going to be doing some of a three-parter for this, or two-parter for this, three-parter. I'm going to review this and the next film in an individual, and I'll review, but get more in depth in showcasing, these sets, because these are really nice. They nice slipcover. I mean, there's a whole lot more than these. Well, I'm going to break this out in individual videos for these. So this one was one I had not seen, but I heard a lot about, and it was the subject matter was really got my attention, since it deals with the video nasties, in a sense, a person who's in charge of, what do they call it? Certifying films for release, and what are the ranges in the UK, And I'm not sure if it takes place around that time period. If so, that's even better. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on around that. I won't get too much into it, but I really, like I said, what I heard about it was really interesting to me. And plus, some of the special features on here, I believe, are a documentary or two regarding the video nasties, which is a subject I'm very fascinated with, that whole thing. So I was really excited to get those with this set, and I'm looking forward to checking out the film, because I've heard a lot of good things about this. So, and like I said, I will do a separate video where I just show you everything that's on this set, because this is a very nice box for that. Now, the big one was one that I pre-ordered as soon as I heard about it, and this is very exciting. That is Flesh for Frankenstein. Now, this is a big set. They did a nice hardcover set again. There's a couple discs in here, but yeah, this is one of replacement, because I do, again, going back to the video nasties, this is an infamous one, and it's a weird movie. But I do have, because I was trying to collect a lot of those video nasties. Excuse me. And I do have this one on DVD. And it was originally shown in 3D. And I remember saying to myself, I would love to see this wacky film in 3D. If it ever was released, I would snatch it up immediately. Lo and behold, someone at Vinegar Syndrome obviously heard me, and they released this. It's a 4K edition along with the Blu-ray, but it's also got the 3D version. So yeah, I mean, that was a no-brainer for me. And it's a real 3D, so it's made for 3D Blu-ray with 3D TV, which I do have. So I'm looking forward to checking that weirdness out in 3D. Now, the big news about this recently was that apparently the 4K disc in here has caused some problems, or how it was mastered, I'm not sure, but it's creating some issues with the coloring of some of the scenes, or how it's played back on certain players or TVs. And Vinegar Syndrome has addressed this issue, and what they're doing is anyone who's pre-ordered directly from their site is getting a brand new 4K disc as a replacement shipped out to them automatically sometime in January. If you've pre-ordered or bought it from a distributor, then you need to show Vinegar Syndrome proof of purchase so they can send this your replacement disc. Now, for me, as I said before, I don't have a 4K player, so it doesn't really bother me. I can still watch the Blu-rays and the 3D Blu-ray perfectly fine. But it's still nice to know that I'm going to get that replacement. So if I ever do move up to a 4K player, which I'm sure eventually one day I will, by the time I move up to 4K player, there'll be like 8K. But like I said, it's nice to know that since I pre-ordered already from Vinegar Syndrome, that I'm going to get that regardless, so I don't really have to do anything. So that's nice of Vinegar Syndrome. That's a way to really be on top of that. So, and again, I will be doing a separate video to break this down and show you everything that's on this, because there's a lot to unpack here. But again, this is a lot. This is a heck of a treatment to give to this film that really, if it had not been on the video nasties, it probably would have been forgotten. So kudos to Vinegar Syndrome for doing that, and for this fantastic, again, packaging, which I will show in a later video. So that is it for the Vinegar Syndrome Black Friday pickup. I still have stuff from Severin, but again, most of that stuff was all pre-order on Black Friday, so that won't probably arrive until February. I think, February, March. And I have a couple other things in the works or pipeline, as long as they get shipped to the right spot and not 150 miles away from where I'm at. So that being said, if you enjoyed this, click like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you picked up on Black Friday. If you got these titles from Vinegar Syndrome, if you've got anything else from Vinegar Syndrome, or any other boutique labels, or anywhere, what you got. Share. I love to see them and hear about them. And tell me what you think of some of these films. Have you seen Censor? What do you think about it? Anyone out there still have 3D TVs and can watch real 3D? I feel like I'm the only one. I know there's a few out there, but not too many. So with that being said, that is it for now. Until next time, like I said, I'll come back with a video showcasing Censor and Flesh for Frankenstein. But until then, this is Chuck saying, take it easy.